Hello, good morning. How y'all's doing? What's happening in YouTube land? You know, the most interesting part of the existence to me is trying to ascertain where is the command central located, and is it a tangible thing? That idea is what wars are fought over, actually. It's why computer-to-mind interfaces exist. You know, it's coming out in the news that brain chips are just now getting, patented and perfected. But I always look at it as, when you see something on the news, you know, that's like much longer after the thing has come out in the first place. And everything is cyclical anyway. Nothing new under the sun and so on. But it's very interesting to try and ascertain where Command Central is located, and this is like something that you can do mentally, just looking out, right? And you can also do it looking within your own self. It's the same thing. If you look out there, you see movement and motion. You see trees, you see cars, people walking around. You know, governments are existing and things like that. Corporations, businesses, etc. And the sort of thing that's protected or hidden within and without is where and how is Command Central located. If you're fighting a war, that's what you want to find, right? You want to find the head, you want to find the leader, and take that one out, right? Just like a colony of bees needs to protect their queen because she's the mastermind of the hive. With bees, if there were an enemy of the bees, like if there were a rival bee army, that's what the whole fight would center around: can we take out the other person's queen? That's a little bit different from chess. In chess, it's can we take out the person's king? I don't think there's a king bee. And then, being that the sort of struggle is always to find who's in control, what's in control, where is Command Central, all sorts of camouflage and sort of like double agents, clones, mimicry, all of this has come up in a way to sort of defend the quote-unquote true power or true seat of power in each and every organization, including your own self. Like your own body is an organization of cells, of smaller micro units, and you are sort of the ringleader of your amalgamation of cells, molecules, particulate matter, and everything else that composes a body. So, and then if you imagine an army, you know, that involves having us, which are a conglomerate of cells and molecules, etc. And then we have a whole bunch of us, so us being the conglomerate becomes another part of a bigger conglomerate, which is what's called the army, or you could say the military, the air force, whatever. And then you have a bunch of cells, which people are now the cells. And then you have to have a head of that, which, you know, for the United States we would say is the president. But of course, anyone that's looked into anything anywhere knows that there's lots of pretend things going on. There's body doubles. There are, you know, many people think the seat of power has nothing to do with the president, and that's just a puppet or a, you know, and that some shadowy elite maybe is controlling something. The theories are endless, but it remains that there is a seat of power in every organization, and trying to discover what that is, if it's a person, even in your own body, like where is the controlling mechanism, where is the base root control mechanism, or does it even exist? And so when you come to mind and thoughts of, say, the individual cells that make up an army, which are human beings, if you're wanting to dismantle said army, you would need to find the control unit, the head of operations for the body, right? And you know, of course, the first thing you would look for would be, you look inside the mind, and you'd find brain waves and patterns and correlate those with motions and actions of the body. You start tapping into thoughts, and of course the computer to brain interface, or V2K stuff, would come around at some point. I don't know where I'm going here. Going in circles. And then, you know, like, that's how the war would start happening, it would be a multi-layered operation. It would no longer be just a person, a leader heading a bunch of you know, soldiers and giving commands and sort of like visually seeing, you know, what's going on and composing strategy in that fashion. That would be happening, but at the same time, the scientists would be working on the computer aspects, the AI aspects, and they'd be mapping out all of their enemies' minds. They'd be attempting to hack into those. They'd be attempting to control all opposition. And the war itself, if there was a battle for power, it wouldn't be evident on the surface very much anymore if the thing has gone into sort of mental control structures. Now, of course, there is the very dark aspect, which is sort of mental torture that has happened. The targeted individuals, many have suffered a lot. Many most likely have died as well. But it's a systemic thing that naturally occurs when technology gets powerful enough. Because all the scientists ever do, or really want to do, the pure scientist just wants to know how stuff works. And they feel like a moral obligation to look into something if they can, to discover the inner workings of every single thing that exists. And the neurologists, pairing with the computer scientists, are gonna do their thing. They're gonna do it, and they already did do it. And so, like Robert Duncan talks about, it's your mind is like the final frontier. I've talked about this before with advertising. The advertisers are fighting for space within humanity's collective mindscape. They're not fighting for physical billboards. They're fighting for space within each person's individual mental structure. That's where they exist. And the same thing is happening within minds as far as agendas, plans, etc. up and down the levels, and it's spiritual as well. It's mainly spiritual if you really get into it enough. If you're still on the first level and you haven't had like the first thought about what's going on, then you're still basically sleepwalking. But at some point you start seeing everything coming together. And like Robert said, the mind, it's like an organic computer, and it needs firewalls, it needs virus protection software, and you, as you're the leader of your own body, of your own conglomerate of cells, and your mental structure, and your emotional body, your spiritual body, all these things, you're the leader of it. You're the one that's responsible for putting up firewall protection. And it doesn't mean going and getting the computer to mind interface chip, or uploading yourself into the hive mind and then doing a mental scan and then coming back here. It doesn't mean you have to do that. It means do the work internally. Discover what it means to put up firewalls. Discover how you do that. How do you do that? And practice and experiment, implement. The mind has many, many layers. Anyway, hope everyone's doing well. Take care. Peace.